Hey people, it's nice talking. So this is another Black History video. I'd like to thank one of my subscribers for putting me onto this. So the source is blackpast.org. So we're talking about Tunis Campbell. Tunis Campbell was one of the most successful black politicians in the Reconstruction era. Born the 8th of 10 children to 3 black parents, John Campbell, a blacksmith, and his wife, name unknown, in Middlebrook, New Jersey, on April 1st, 1812, Campbell trained for missionary work at an all-white Episcopal school in Babylon, New York. He initially worked for the American Colonization Society, but eventually rejected their efforts to shore up U.S. slavery by sending only 3 blacks to Liberia. He then became an anti-colonization and abolitionist lecturer. Campbell eventually became a minister and missionary in the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, where he organized churches in the slums of Brooklyn, New York, and Jersey City, New Jersey. He continued his abolitionist work and often joined fellow abolitionist Frederick Douglass on speaking tours. Between 1832 and 1845, while preaching against the evils of slavery, Campbell earned a living as a hotel steward in New York City and Boston, Massachusetts. In 1848, he published an action plan for waiters and other hotel management tips in Hotel Keepers, Head Waiters, and Housekeepers Guide, hailed as the first book of its kind published in the United States. During his years in Boston, he married Harriet, maiden name unknown. The couple had 2 biological children, a son, John Campbell Jr., and an unnamed daughter, plus an adopted son, Edward E. Howard. After the Emancipation Proclamation took effect on January 1st, 1863, then 51-year-old Campbell was commissioned by U.S. Secretary of War Edwin Stanton to work in Port Royal, South Carolina, to help resettle black refugees in the region who had been displaced by Civil War fighting. Soon after the U.S. Congress set up Freedmen's Bureau in March 1865, Campbell was appointed to supervise land claims and resettlement of newly freed people on 5 Georgia Sea islands: Ossabaw, Delaware, Colonel, St. Catharines, and Sao Paulo. When President Andrew Johnson later pardoned ex-Confederate landowners in the region who then attempted to reclaim these islands, Campbell shrewdly repurchased 1,250 acres in Georgia's McIntosh County and established an association of black landowners there to divide parcels and profit from the land. When African Americans received voting rights the following year, McIntosh County elected Tunis Campbell to the Georgia State Constitutional Convention. Campbell and other delegates called for constitutional changes, such as enacting legislation that eliminated imprisonment for debt. By 1868, Campbell and over 200 ex-slaves had created a fishing and farming community on St. Catharines Island. As the colony grew, Campbell served as Justice of the Peace and political boss. Eventually, a 300-strong African-American militia protected the colony from reprisals by the Ku Klux Klan. I just wanted to put that to you. For all these people who talk about Martin Luther King and his peaceful way forward, do you see how black politicians of the past were not waiting around for people to protect them? They organized themselves and fought them off themselves. So let's keep going. Campbell was elected to the Georgia State Senate, representing the area. Despite bitter opposition from many conservative legislatures, Campbell introduced 15 bills aimed at furthering the rights of blacks before losing his seat in an 1872 election mired in fraud and voter intimidation. Yet he continued to serve as Justice of the Peace on St. Catharines Island. When he defended the rights of black sailors on ships docked at nearby Darien, Georgia, he was arrested, convicted, and sentenced in 1876 to 1 year of hard labor at a convict labor camp. Released in January 1877, Campbell moved to Washington, D.C., where he lobbied for federal protection of freeborn African-American rights and wrote another book, Sufferings of the Reverend T.G. Campbell and His Family in Georgia, 1877. Tunis Campbell died in Boston on December 4th, 1891. Today, the descendants of the people who led honor him with annual Tunis Campbell celebrations in Brunswick, Georgia. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.